What's up, everybody? Luke here again, bringing you a little late night, or sorry, it's 9:30. Little late night video talking about, it's like an introduction for the VA beginners training course thing that I was talking about. So basically, going to bring you like dedicated videos that will be aimed at you and the virtual assistant. So there sort of be so that both parties can watch these episodes or videos or whatever you want to call them, and follow them along as like a training course. And this is the introduction video to just literally tell you what I'm going to be putting into them, because I don't want to be talking. I want it to be sort of a semi-structured in the episode videos. So I'm going to bring you all the sort of bits beforehand, little like almost like a kind of a bit of a feed of information in this introduction video for you to watch, so that you then when I come to make the other ones, there's no sort of waffle or anything. It's literally like pretty much bringing you a sort of like a step-by-step guide, video guide for the assistant to watch. You can obviously watch them just so you know what they're doing, but it'll be a video that they'll be able to go back over and watch, like a training course. So there's not going to be any like random talk in between about anything. So if I bring this video at the beginning, we will basically get everything figured out beforehand. You know what's going to happen, and you might get a little bit of useful insight. And because obviously I'm not going to do a proper video on this, I thought we can play around with Google Trends and just see what's happening. So just so you can see what I even searched, literally typed in Christmas for well, last 5 years, and you can see here, this is where we are now. We're here. So we are literally at 17 out of 100, and you can get to 100. That was 100 there. Actually, that was relatively low. This has anything to do with Christmas searching on Google, so it's not necessarily buying habits, but it gives you a good indication of people's awareness into Christmas, basically. Who's thinking of Christmas something? Christmas presents, Christmas trees, anything relating to Christmas that people are searching for online with that sort of keyword phrase, Christmas. And you can see here, it's currently at 17. Let's see what we can find here. Last year, it was at 16. And so we're basically at the same point. And you can see the trend line, yeah, that looks a little low, but when it comes to buying habits, this might be that people weren't searching for the word, but once it's already in full flow, people might just go direct to source, and they would have done their sort of searching for stuff before that sort of period. So you know that it's just going to be the 100 pretty much. This is obviously just not for buying habits. Yeah, that's why it's slightly off. But you can see the dates of starting is basically the same, and the result is always the same. So do not worry, because I've talked about it in the group. A couple of messages saying that don't panic. And payday is in the next couple of days. So from over the next week to the end of October, you will start to see noticeable increase in sales. Yeah, yes, you might get the odd day that's really good, but on an average, it will just be, because you can see here, it's not only going to go from here, and yes, obviously that went there to there, which is quite high. But it will, but it won't. But for October, it will be, from October, for example, here, 13 to 22, should we say? So it's not doubled, but it's gone up about 35%. So 38%. So you're going to slowly see it day to day, all the way up to the beginning of November. That sort of gradual chip away at the sales. You should do anyway, as long as you're doing everything properly. You make sure you've got extra stock in for Christmas and all that sort of jazz. Anyway, we're just going to be sort of playing around with this while I'm talking about the VA stuff. So you can just follow along with what I'm searching, just so you can see, and we'll go from there. So with this VA course, I'm basically going to bring, it's more for a beginner looking to get their first VA, and get them maybe doing 1 day a week. Now, I had a VA just for 1 day a week, and yeah, you can go more or less, or half a day or something if you really want. It's just dependent on one's budget and stuff. But I paid them about 30, basically paying them like 35 quid or 38 quid for two day. It's like literally 68 quid a month for a day a week, £68, and they were not sourcing products for me. They were actually they were doing the admin side of things. Now, when I mean admin side of things, I mean they were doing all the stuff which is just tedious, and you have to get it done to get what you need out of it. But it's not really gaining any value in your business. But you need to do it. So, for example, going over your sold items to see what you sold. Can you replenish them quick enough? Is the item still in sale? If you bought 6 or something and it sold out really quickly in 1 or 2 days, and you have now realised that, can you go back and buy more before the sale like stops or ends or whatever? And these are little things that you don't have to do. You could just go and start replenishing as per, you could go on to Bookable VA, not Bookable VA, the new on arbitragedeals.com, just get you new deals, but you're missing out on you're basically losing data because you're not going and looking at what you were doing. This is valuable information that you need to retain, definitely as the online arbitrage game gets harder and harder. These are really important things to keep on top of and get them done as early as possible, because you gaining that extra value early means you can act earlier. That means you can then do your next act sooner, and each of these little things builds up, and you'll see some crazy stuff. And this is literally going to be a beginner's course. So it would be literally, when I say beginner's course, it will be as if a person is going to be working a half a day or one day a week. And I will at some point bring out like a full course. Probably I've gone over all the things I would talk about. Like little mini categories or subjects or whatever you want to call it, like mini videos. And I've got 30 odd points down at my book. Beginner, intermediate, advanced, all sorts. And even beyond the advanced, going into sort of a financial, analytical side of things. And this is non-searching of products. But what it would do is this, you can, and obviously once you've got these training videos, so what happened with me is that I did some very basic training videos, but what happened is that she left me, basically. She went because she couldn't work for me anymore. And now the videos that I sent her were quite rough and ready. And really, if I had like a little mini course I could send her, or another person, I could get the ball rolling far quicker. I could sign up, I could do this, and within a week, I could have it all kicking off again. But now I've got to go back and record all the videos again, and I thought if I've got it as a base, as a copy, behind the scenes, if I ever have to call upon it again, you can. Ignore half of this stuff, it's just me mucking around. And so it's really interesting to see what things you can do. So all of these admin tasks will mean that you don't have to do any of them, and you can focus your time on the things that are going to either gain future value, things that you now have time to do which gain you value, and you can focus on the purchasing side of things. So you can focus on buying of everything, and obviously getting it in if you're doing the proper home or whatever you're trying to do. So you can basically buy your stuff quicker, like replenish quicker, and basically get your money back quicker from Amazon. So stuff like doing your reconciliation reports for inventory adjustments, and then sending you your money back. So basically, what is it? Don't know why the words eluded me, but reimbursements. They will give you your reimbursements quicker because all these things are getting done by someone else. And if you get them to work in the Philippines at their own time, they will have it all ready for you on Monday morning. So you're literally ahead of the game, if you get what I'm trying to say. And it's just going to be all these, if you've got a million things that are just helping your business that little extra, how much better do you think that business was going to be? Honestly, it would be ridiculous. So I'm going to go over the type of videos that you're going to see. I'm not exactly sure the number of beginner videos I'm going to do because it depends on how I break them down. Do I do them manageable in maybe 5-minute videos so that they're easy to go through. So for example, your virtual assistant can learn a handful of them, make sure that they know it, move on to the next, and so on and so on and so on. So these are the tasks I will get them, what the videos will be on. So it will be weekly sales reports or weekend sales reports. So for example, most sales are done over the weekend, so you can get them to do a more recent 3-day report. They go onto your orders, you give them access to your account. It's literally remote. It's remote access, so they get an extra login and that. But they don't get to see your whole account. There's nothing sinister about it. They just see parts of your account, so they can only access certain information parts. And they literally will, in Excel or whatever you system you want. But I use Excel. It's just because for these simple tasks, it's pretty just stick with the basics. They will get all of your sales. Even let's say, for example, the last week. They will pull off all of your sales for the last week, and they will then put it into a spreadsheet for you, and then tally up the number of sales against each product. You can then go straight into it, filter by, well, you can get them to do this, but filter by most number of sales. You then can come up with the number of products that you've sold. It could be 10 of this item, 4 of that, 1 of that, 1 of that. You know, you get lots of ones. I look at anything above 4, maybe 5, depending on how broad. If you do a 7-day span, maybe anything over 1 a day, I'll look at. But if it's a 3-day span, anything over 4. And what you can then do from that is you can then get them to go into your Amazon account and in the column next to it, say what your current stock level is. Yeah, and then you could even go a step further and say, how many of that product have you bought in the last 30 days, or the last 7 days, or the last 14 days? So you have 3 columns of how many you sold in the last 7 days, how many are left in stock, and how many you have purchased. And from those figures, you can see the average of what you may now need to go and buy as a replenishable, or is it still in sale, or you know, whatever your means of. You might go onto it and find you can't buy it anymore. Fine, but you're not doing any of that annoying admin work behind the scenes. So you're not doing all that work to find out, oh, okay, I can't get any of those items again because they're not on sale anymore. But if you're not, and you're only paying like for a day's work 30 quid, but you are then getting like, if there's 10 items and 4 of them you can replenish, and you know that you can sell 20 of them a month, 30 of them a month, and make more than that £30. And that's just on an average day. You can have great days, but at least you're not wasting your time doing that work to find out that you actually just wasted your time. But it's necessary. Well, it's not necessary. You don't have to go and do it, but it's like saying, like, think of the businesses who do that little extra, that little extra, that little extra. Even though the businesses, if you compare 2 businesses, they look the same. One business is far superior to the other, does like 4 times more sales than the other team. Even though they have the same amount of, this, that, and the other, they look the same, but in reality they're not, because they just implement all these little extras that you can get a virtual assistant to do. And I won't go into, like, I'm not going to drill into each one, but that is one example. Another example is they can go and do a weekly inventory adjustment report. So they pull off anything over 30 days old that has had some sort of anomaly, such as it's been transferred to another user, or it's had a warehouse damage. And maybe, how do you know that Amazon are giving you your money back for warehouse damage? You don't actually know. And it's like, you have to just hope. But with this, you actually can check, and they will check each transaction. I do it every 7 days, so that the number of transactions they're checking that have sort of gone in and out of a different state, meaning they're not. So, like, for example, are they now warehouse damage, distributed damage, stranded, infantry, this, that, and the other? Like all these different, transferred to a different owner, disposed of by Amazon sometimes, literally just disposed of if it's some sort of perishable product. Many things. You can send this report off, and they will come back and reimburse you for anything that they have noticed either hasn't and should have, or basically that hasn't and should have, and give you your money back. And this is something that's been going around, used to go around in the groups, but it doesn't really get anyone new or anyone like they wouldn't have really heard about it, but it's been around. But that's another thing, and you're not doing any of this. So you're getting this money back faster. What does that mean? You might only get 50 quid a week, or 40 quid here, 30. But over the year, how much is that extra? And so that's 600 quid. Well, that's 600 quid more in stock you've got for Q4. Okay, but if that's 600 quid, what can 600 quid in Q4 actually make you in, say, sales or profit? A couple of £1,000 potentially, because you could turn that 600 pounds. What did I say? 600 pounds into £5 of sales. That could be £2,000, £2,500 in profit. Obviously minus the original investment of the £600, and you've made, that's just one thing. And I've got like 20, 30 things, and this obviously the full course would be the equivalent of 5-day person. We're working with 5 days basically. Obviously, the beginner task can be done by a person working 1 day, and you could just build up over time. Obviously, because the cost of having someone is higher. A couple of other things: people can go and do shipment reconciliations. Make sure that you haven't been, like, items are booked in properly, and you can maybe claim some reimbursements back that way. Another bit of money you can get back. Check your stranded inventory. Is there anything that can be either recalled to you? Sometimes products say expired on an item. Sometimes it's wrong. Amazon say expired. I've recalled the item straight away and then checked it and then sent it back in, because they said expired when it actually wasn't, so something's happened. But unless you go and do it, and stuff like, checking, what else have I got here? I'm not going to go into all of it. Just checking your EU sale. This is actually important, I found. Checking European sales, the actual return value of products, then roughly converting it into pounds and checking against the purchase sheet to make sure that if you're using a repricer or your own methodology on it, making sure that it actually is returning what you think it is. Because I found I come to the end of the month, I check the figures, and I've lost money on items that sold in Europe, and the fees were so much higher than they were showing me beforehand. But it took me the whole month of sales to realise, when I could have been doing it every week, and I could have then taken action to adjust the price. But these are just little things that you have to then go and think, can I do that? Can I do that? And yes, you can, but then nothing of substance will actually get done, because you're just doing about 1 million of little tiny admin tasks. And this is everything you can just outsource to a virtual assistant. They don't need to source any products, but then all you need to do is one thing, potentially two, is source your products. Cash flow management, they could do that. Cash flow management obviously is sort of a given, but sourcing your products with all the information you've got now, because you're not sourcing from like your means, as in your sheets or whatever. You've got all this other data that you're given on the morning. So you almost get given free leads in a way, because you would have just neglected to look that deep into what you could be buying again, your replenishable list and all that sort of thing. And then you can focus on the more important stuff, how to grow your business, looking for little another little thing, even something more advanced for a virtual assistant that you could do later. They can go onto all of your listings, that not toys, but let's say groceries, beauty, all of those listings, and look not only for, so obviously you might be sending up a 1 unit or something. Let's say pack of cornflakes. I've never sold cornflakes, but let's say. And then you could actually find that you can sell a pack of 4 for even more profit, or the same equivalent profit, or ROI would be equivalent. But that means you've now gained an extra listing for free. You're just basically extrapolating the current listing and a subset of that 2-pack, 4-pack, a 6-pack, literally 6 in a poly bag. Now you're still buying the same item, but you can just buy now 6 times more of that item. So instead of buying 5 packs of cornflakes itself, well, if you know you can get 5 sales now on a pack of 2, that's 10. So you'd have to have 10 to do that 5 sales. You can then go and buy 15 packs of cornflakes with like 1 click of a button, but you've now gained a free listing. And you can go and do that on all of your listings. You can just go through every item you've ever bought and see. And these are free, almost free leads again. And then every morning you can get presented these. And you're not doing any of this all behind the scenes. And you can just focus on pushing your business in the right direction. And all of this long term should supersede any cost to that virtual assistant. Anyway, 20 minutes is just there. That's just like a little snippet of what I am basically going to be bringing at some point. The mini-series, I'll do one episode every day probably, because they're not going to be large, probably 5 to 15 minutes long, depending on what the actual thing is. You get what I'm trying to say. And it will be in a very sort of structured format, unlike most of my videos where I'm just sort of going off on one half the time. Okay, and so that they can watch it, and you can almost either download it or give them just the link. So you can basically just give them a little just email almost. You know, hi, these are the 5 videos I want you to learn. I normally would then say get them to watch it before they work every morning for a month. Blah 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 blah. And that's how it's going to work. And then further down the line, I will bring out a massive, sort of large version of this course for them that they could potentially look. You know, I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's still brainstorm stage at this point. But right now, I need some virtual assistant beginners training because I want to get someone else. You guys probably need it, and actually, it will actually give you a slightly cool insight into what else you can use them for apart from sourcing products. That's how I see it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and it's given you a little teaser or taste of what's to come, and you enjoy what it will bring. So smash the thumbs up, subscribe. You can press the little bell icon if you want to be notified of any future videos, and I'll see you on the next video.